First tonight, more than a year after we first told you about a midwife accused of injuring a child during delivery, the state is taking action. This is 10 Tampa Bay News at 11. I'm Dave Wagner. Tonight, 10 Investigates Emerald Morrow shows you what took so long and why some believe moms in our area are still at risk. We do want to warn you, though, some video in this story is difficult to watch.
Wow. I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to set up for a flip. I see you.
Like many children, little Dylan is sometimes a handful. But he is the center of Victoria Vassar's world.
Can we get righty? Up high. Good job. Down low. In the middle. Too slow. Good job, righty. Good job.
And now, how he came into this world
You gotta push. Push, push, Tori, push.
is the center of a state investigation.
Tori, you gotta push. I'm pushing.
When the head comes out and the body doesn't follow, they know that you're not supposed to push anymore.
In November 2021, Vassar went into labor at home, using her Medicaid benefits to have Wesley Chapel midwife Sizzly Auer by her side. But during delivery, Dylan's shoulder got stuck behind his mom's pubic bone.
Come on, Tori.
Records show instead of using standard medical maneuvers to release his shoulder, the midwife pulled and twisted Dylan's head with such force, his nerves were ripped from his spine.
This is a lifelong injury. There's going to constantly be procedures and therapies that he's going to need.
In March, the Florida Department of Health filed an administrative complaint against Auer, who changed her name after our stories online to Sizzly Buchanan Gibbs. The state says she renewed her midwifery license by, quote, fraudulent representation. The complaint lists 13 counts of unprofessional conduct and violations of state law. DOH recommends discipline that could go as far as suspending or revoking her license.
Finally, something is being done. Finally, we're getting some answers.
The state accuses Auer of performing, quote, aggressive and forceful lateral downward traction on Dylan's head during delivery and failing to use common maneuvers to free his shoulder. The complaint also says she allowed Dylan's head to go underwater after he took his first breath.
Get out, get out, get out, get out.
They use the medical terminology for drowning.
The complaint comes nearly a year and a half after 10 Investigates first reported Vassar's case, with findings the state has also identified through its own probe. After reviewing her file, we found every time Auer renewed her midwife license between 2017 and 2023, she avoided the state's insurance requirement by selecting this exemption, saying she was not practicing. That's despite clear video evidence and annual reports she submitted herself, listing the number of women she treated and babies she delivered, all while telling the state she was not practicing. The state approved her renewal each time.
How can you guys pay her, through Medicaid and not know that she's delivering babies?
According to the complaint, she also failed to keep basic records like names, addresses, and phone numbers, or even a record of Dylan's certificate of live birth.
Hi, is this Sizzly?
Auer initially agreed to speak with us for our first report, but ghosted us when we tried to follow through. She still hasn't answered any of our calls or returned our emails about Dylan or other pressing concerns.
We know historically that Sizzly Auer was also involved in operating an unlicensed birth center, and that there was an administrative complaint filed against her by ACA.
Records show the agency fined her $33,000 in 2015, money the state says she still hasn't paid. A spokesperson said because her license is clear, she can keep billing Medicaid.
Why would Medicaid continue paying her for services rendered to patients when she's not doing what she needs to be doing to render those services?
Is that a failure of the state?
I think so.
Olivia Cronenberg represented Vassar in a medical malpractice case against Auer, who never showed to any of the hearings. Vassar won a default judgment of more than $12 million. But because Auer was not carrying insurance, Vassar got nothing.
Dylan needs 3 days of occupational therapy a week. I can literally only afford to take off 1 day a week to get him to therapy. Dylan, the services that he needs are more than what Medicaid will cover.
State House Minority Leader Fences Driscoll says our reporting has highlighted serious problems with state oversight.
There are gaps in the system, there are gaps in care. It sounds like this practice should have been shut down a long time ago, and this license likely should have been taken away a long time ago.
You mentioned that there were these loopholes, there were these gaps. How do we close them?
Well, it might take a legislative solution. If the state agencies are failing to act, we need to look at this. We need to look at that form that allows the midwife to just simply check a box and say that they're not practicing in Florida to avoid the insurance requirement.
Hospital administrators are also taking action. Baycare Health has revoked all of Auer's privileges. But with a clear license, some worry moms and babies are still in danger if the state doesn't act soon.
What is it really going to take to revoke her license, to suspend her license? Is it going to take somebody dying? There are lives at stake.
Auer has a limited time to request a hearing or settlement agreement with the state before a board moves forward with disciplinary action. And of course, we will keep you posted on what happens. Emerald Morrow, 10 Investigates.